Hey lovelies, Lisa here, and I'm outside, and the air is sweet. Yay. And it is day 11 of my tower month. And yeah, today everything felt rather slow. Partly it's because I was on call at the hospital the last 2 nights, so I kind of went to work on Sunday morning and, worked and worked and worked. And so just even to be just moving through the halls and, just like, that feeling when just things are, you're tired, you're kind of a little bit disoriented. And then I have a mindfulness group that meets on Tuesday early evenings. And I found myself talking with folks after we sat together for a while, meditated for a little while, then we sort of have sharing. And I found myself talking with folks about, the way in which life, just in any given moment, we can drop into a sense of things being okay, being good enough. I mean, sometimes it feels like this upsurge of gratitude, feeling like right now, like the birds singing and my dogs are playing out in the grass and the air is cool because it's, it's like 8 p.m. It's kind of, we've had really warm weather lately here in Oregon. But the air is cool and it's just sweet. And so I just feel, like that sort of humming along, life feels good. But sometimes, the moment is just a moment. And even then, can we just check into a sense that it's okay right now? So it strikes me about, in terms of the tower, the way in which, we're so fixated, right, on this moment, this sharp moment, and the next moment, which will be hitting the ground. But in this moment, we might be focused on the one hand on the fire and on the other hand on the ground, on earth, heaven and earth. But in this moment, we're just suspended in air. And that sense of suspension, of just being not in the like great crack of light, not in the sort of great burst of energy, nor in the receiving medium of earth, or as I've been talking about yesterday, water, the ways in which like to think about the star card, where you have the light in the sky and the water of source beneath. Not to talk about what's above and what's below, but what's in between. I guess that's it. It's like, how is this moment, this very moment right now, it's a moment of in between, and we tend to discount all of the in between of our lives. And yet our life is made up of nothing but these in between moments where it's okay, So today, as I've been doing, drawing a card to kind of help read into my tower month through other cards. The card I drew today was the Two of Swords. Again, this is it's the same deck. This is the ancient Italian tarot, that Soprafino deck from the late 19th century, I'm trying to remember. It's based on a deck that's like 1835, but it's a later version. I drew the Two of Swords. And there are a lot of ways to think about the Two of Swords in the kind of classic lineage of Waite Smith. And for me, I'm always reading one tarot. So even when I'm looking at a Marseille style deck, I'm not saying there's Marseille and it's about numerology and there's Waite Smith and it's something else. It's like, no, this is Two of Swords. What is Two of Swords? What are twos? What are swords? And this is a card that's about a kind of suspension, a kind of in the Crowley-Harris system, the Thoth or Thoth system, the card is called Peace, and it's about a kind of right? It's a the two swords coming together in the Waite-Smith imagery, in the Marseille style. They're scimitars, and they're creating a kind of you know, this what are these called? Mandorlas. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. But that almond shape, you know, that I had to check out how to pronounce Mandorla. So here's the thing, you know, this creation here of this gap, of this middle space, which is what the swords in a Marseille style deck, these scimitars, these curved swords, what they do all over the place. I picked another card after I picked this to kind of clarify, and I came up with the 10. So yet another sword, which is interesting. I'll say something more about that in a second. But, you know, the way that in the Marseille deck, you know, we have, and this is true, it's true with all 4 of the minor suits, you know, but in different ways, but this kind of drawing attention to the edges and the center. And the swords keep creating these mandorlas, these open spaces, which then get filled. So on the even cards, you have the open space, and there might be a floral flourish in the middle. In this case, it calls forth the imagery of victory and accomplishment that we see in the ace, this sort of reference to the laurel and the myrtle, again, imagery of conquering and victory. So this creation of this gap, this hiatus, this pause, you know. And I think of that, you know, the way in which the 2 of Swords, you know, this is a card that is about impasse or about balance, sometimes about a kind of suspension. Like, there are 2 ways to go. I'm choosing neither, either because I can't or because I won't. So this is a card which, in its, you know, two-ness, in its mirroring and reflective quality, its duality, its doubleness, this is a card that's all about pausing, about suspension, and about this way in which every moment in our life can be a moment of pause. We can understand to be a moment of pause, a moment of in-between, you know, where we, like the present moment, it's not before, it's not after, it's now. And no matter what the now is, there's the capacity for us to treat this now, even the now of calamity, even the now of a tower collapsing, to not be obsessed with the lightning that strikes, nor be obsessed with the ground that's going to meet us, but to be in this place of suspension, to be in this middle area. As a Buddhist, I think a lot about the middle path, to be in this middle place where the medium is air, to be up in the air, to be up in the air. So I've been thinking about today the way in which the tower can also be understood as recognizing the way in which at any given moment we're kind of up in the air. This is a moment of pause, a moment where maybe everything's just fine. You know, everything is just fine. What a concept. We don't need to worry. Even in the middle of worrying, there's a side of us and of our life that's just fine. We're okay. Yeah. So that's where I am today. Kind of, yeah, in the air, in between. Neither up nor down. It's okay. And it being okay is okay. We can get sort of addicted to highs and lows, if you know what I mean. It's okay. All right, I think that's all I've got tonight. As always, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your practice.